Okay, so at France Lang, we have a dedicated team for the work experience one. And this team is in charge of enrolling the students to the program, but also to develop a wide network of partnerships with companies.
Welcome to the show, Canadians Work and Travel Abroad, a podcast by Go International Work and Travel Providers about all things to do with working and traveling overseas. I'm Tamsin Plaxton, host of the show and founder of Go International. I'm also an avid international traveler. Hi, and welcome back to Canadians Work and Travel Abroad. And I'm joined today with a guest from France. Her name is Victoria Tonnelier. Am I saying that right, Victoria?
Yeah.
And Victoria is joining us from a partner company we work with called France Lang. Welcome, Victoria.
Thank you very much, Tamsin.
Yeah. So Victoria, can you tell us a little bit about, first, yourself? What's your role in the company and how long have you worked there?
So I've been in France Lang for 5 years. I first studied as full in charge of the work experience program. So either for the job and internship. And now I'm still in charge of this program, but I wider a bit my missions. And I'm also taking care of registration for all the France Lang program.
Wonderful. Wow. So 5 years. Long time.
Yes, already. Yeah. Spinning really fast.
Yeah. And France Lang, as I know, was started as a school of French for internationals who wanted to learn French in France, and has expanded into the work experience programs. Is that correct?
Yes. France Lang is, as you said, first a school of French. It started more than 40 years ago. So quite a long time, and slowly it grows. And we now have 6 schools in France, in big cities mostly, such as Paris, Lyon, Bordeaux, Biarritz, Nice, and also a few courses in Martinique. And so we offer French courses for foreigners. Any type of duration could be either for just 1 week or just for a full year. And besides that, we offer many services. Could be extra lessons, activities, sport one, cultural activities, and also the work experience one. And that's why we are talking about together today.
Yeah, great. And Go International works with your partner, with your organization, to promote 2 of your programs to Canadians. One is a program of French language classes with an internship in a French company, and that's unpaid in most cases, work experience. And then the other is the French language classes with a paid job. But some Canadians are native French speakers, or they're bilingual. What is the requirement, and would they need to take a lot of French classes if they already speak French? How would they qualify? What do they need to take?
Yeah, of course, we will adapt the program according to that. There are few requirements to participate either to the internship and job program. One of the most important one is French. Of course, an intermediate or advanced level of French is necessary, because students will be in a situation where they will have to speak French, either with colleagues or just with the customers. And there are also other requirements, such as motivations, visa, of course, some administrative parts. And we all study that together before the enrollment, because we have an interview in French to assess all that, discuss and tailor the program just for the students. But yeah, if students already have an advanced level of French, of course, the classes will be reduced. And the minimum and the 2 mandatory one are the professional workshops. It's 1.5 hours per week for 2 weeks. And it's workshops where students will learn more about how to conduct an interview in French, some specificities that might be different from Canada, and also specific vocabulary, and some also working situation where they would learn how to interact with customers.
Right, right. So those are just workshops, and those are offered over a course of 2 weeks before the student goes to their job. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
When they first arrive. So can you tell us a little bit about the paid jobs first? What kinds of jobs are students getting, and what's the role of France Long in coordinating those placements?
Okay, so at France Lang, we have a dedicated team for the work experience one. And this team is in charge of enrolling the students to the program, but also to develop a wide network of partnerships with companies. For the job program, it's mostly with service field companies. So in hospitalities, such as hotel, tourism company, restaurants, and they are also more in business with shops or coffee. It's always, the aim is always for the students to be in front of customers, so they would speak French and practice, like have the opportunity to practice French outside of the school,
right.
Be in other situation.
Yeah, and what sort of length of time is ideal for a good job placement? How long should a Canadian be prepared to stay in France and work in a company to get a good job offer?
Of course, there are different possibilities for the duration, but we usually ask students to be available for at least 3 months for the job program.
Okay.
And it could go up to 1 year.
Yeah.
It depends on their project and their visa. And we do also have some students who, after the years, say, okay, I'm fine here. I'd like to stay a little bit longer. And so we see with the company if they are willing to hire them for a longer time.
Okay. What do you think are some of the benefits that Canadians get taking part in this work program? What could they expect?
There are several benefits. The first one is, even if they don't have many French courses at school, they will have somewhere to arrive and to meet people. They could make friends at school and already also meet the teacher or the team. And it's like a first good step when you are going somewhere and you don't really know a lot of people. And our team is also here to be with the students during all the jobs program. So until the end of the contract, and even after, if they have specific questions, we are here to help them. And it could go, like, all questions could be about the job program, the courses, but also with accommodation. We are here to help students to find an accommodation, either with host families or for a room in a residence, for example.
Oh, great. Okay, so they can organize the accommodation with you before they arrive?
Yes. And it could be just for a few weeks, just to have them, to provide them some time to look for an accommodation by themselves, or it could be for the whole duration of their stay. And of course, like, just to go back to your last question about why going abroad to have job experience, and why it's a nice possibility to do it with France Lang, is because we are all here, like all the team is here to help them. But of course, having an abroad experience is always good for, like, to learn more. You will, of course, learn to be more independent and learn new things, living like a new lifestyle, have some new job experience. So it's always good. Like, it will always be good for your future and your future jobs.
Right. And what's the difference between the work program that's paid jobs and the internships in terms of the types of jobs and the duration of the program?
Yeah, there are two different aims. The job one is it's different because you will have a wage first. That could help students to be able to do their, how would you say that, for their expenses. Wow,
Right.
that was hard. But yeah, they will have wages, so they are able to maybe stay longer and able to.
They make money, and that helps them support themselves while they're in France. And
Yes.
yeah, and I guess it's, as you say, it's sort of service jobs, largely service jobs in hotels and restaurants and shops,
Yeah.
customer service.
The aim, yeah, the aim with the job program is more has a first job experience abroad where you earn money and you can experience French way of life.
Right.
For the internship one, the experience will be linked to your studies. So if, for example, you are studying communications and you need to do an internship for your graduation, this will be the perfect program for that, because we will help you with all the administrative parts, such as the convention de stage or internship agreement, which is a French specific document. And it will be missions linked to your studies.
Okay.
But it's different in this way with the job programs, because jobs are in the service field. So you will, of course, have new experiences. You will learn a lot, but it might not be linked to your studies.
Right. But the internship is always going to be a placement related to your field of studies or professional field. And are there limits to the areas that you can place in? Presumably you couldn't arrange a doctor like an internship in medicine in France, but maybe there's areas within sciences that are available.
Yeah, there are few fields that it's very difficult to find placements, internship placements, just like you said, medicine, because there are some equivalence necessary between the diploma. But we do offer a lot of fields. It could be in communication, marketing, international relation. It could be in social. Else, it is also possible, but mostly in the administrative part. It could be in law, audiovisual. So yeah, there are quite a lot of possibilities.
Yeah. Well, that's great. I mean, in Canada, I think some students can actually get credit from their university for completing an organized and structured internship program abroad. And certainly it's something that looks good on their resume. Later, when they go, if they're still at university and they later graduate and are looking for a career, a job in their career field, having that work experience overseas is just going to help them stand out, right, from the competition who maybe have only worked in Canada, maybe didn't even have a summer job that was related to their field. So yeah, big advantage for people to get that experience.
Definitely.
And typically for the internships, what are the durations that most people would follow? How many weeks or months?
The duration are either 2 months for short one, or it could be 5-6 months internships.
Right.
6 months is the maximum duration that is possible in France. And for long internships, so 5-6 months, you could have a small gratification, like a small wages. Of course, it will not pay all your expenses in France, but it's a plus. You can have to go out and enjoy some leisures.
Yeah, that's great. So for internships, are they mostly centered around Paris, or do you offer internships in other cities in France?
In different cities, mostly the one where we have a school. So in Paris, Lyon, Bordeaux, and Nice.
Okay.
There are some seasonal period for internship. Spring is a great time to start an internship and to continue during summer. Or autumn is also really good. But for Paris, there are internship possibilities all year. So it could be fine different time. Yes.
That's great. What kind of nationalities are you seeing coming through these programs? So Canadians are going to come, they're going to, as you say, in the first 2 weeks, they have workshops. They might be taking French lessons at the school. So they'll get to know other people in the program at France Langue. They'll get to know the staff. What kind of nationalities should they expect to meet and make friends with when they're on the program?
many nationalities. But yeah, mostly we do have a lot of Europeans because it's easier for them regarding visa.
Right.
But we also do have a lot of South and Central American students from Brazil, Mexico, Colombia, and also Americans from the United States.
Yeah.
But this is, mostly for the work experience program.
Right.
But in the school, we also have people from Asian countries, Australia as well, North, South, and East Europe. So it's like a huge melting pot of people from all around the world.
Oh, that's a great experience. I mean, there is always the option for a Canadian to travel abroad on their own, but they would have to organize everything by themselves. They would arrive in Paris, and unless or whatever city they enter into France through, wherever they decide to settle, they wouldn't have necessarily any friends there. They don't have anybody to help them. So this is just such a great launch pad for people to really get started in France. Have you, in the 5 years you've been there, have you got any, big memories of sort of unique cases or stories, like remarkable stories or interesting stories of participants that have come through the program that have had good experiences that stand out?
Yeah, we do have mostly with a job program, because it's more students that are willing to stay longer in France. So sometimes I can pass by a restaurant and see a student and he's still there 6 months after the end of this program and having a little chat with them. So it's always nice to have feedbacks and see that students really enjoy their time in France.
Yeah.
But and internship, we also, most of, like all of our students also have great experience in internships, but most of them are going back home to complete or finish their graduation, but some of them just come back later. Right. So it's always good to have it's always nice to have feedbacks and news from them later.
Yeah. Everyone in our company, in Go International, has had the experience of working abroad. I think it's what put me into this industry, as I had a chance to work in Australia, in New Zealand, in France, and in Switzerland when I was a student. And then after I graduated, I took a gap year and did some work experience abroad. What about yourself? Have you worked abroad, and how did that impact you?
I've studied abroad. I've done a 1 year study in Canada, but in the French part, Quebec one. But I really enjoyed my time there, and I enjoyed it so much that I went back. But this time I changed. I stayed in Europe and went to Sweden. But I also have done a gap year in New Zealand, where I stayed 1 year and worked in different companies to improve my English, which is okay, but still need a little bit more, like to get better. But I'm able to have this podcast with you, so I'm quite proud of that.
Yeah, your English is fine. Your English is great. Yeah. And what about your life? Did that affect you? Like having had that year abroad in New Zealand and the year in Canada, how do you think that changed you? Besides the English, obviously.
Wow. It changed, personally, it changed me a lot. I was very shy. I'm still a bit shy, but I feel it's much better now. And I learn a lot. I've become more independent. I've managed my life all by myself. I met a lot of people, and I still have friends from all over the world. And every time I go traveling, I can just meet a friend I haven't seen in several years, and it will just be as I left them yesterday or before yesterday. And I learned so much that I'm really glad I went abroad. And I went to Canada, and when I just came back to France, and I said, okay, no, I need to go back again. So I went to New Zealand, and I would recommend anyone to have one experience abroad, just to see how it is and learn more about themselves and learn about new skills and taking a chance and opportunities.
Yeah. So if someone listening to this podcast is interested in the program in Context Go International, what would you want us to tell them about the application process? How does that work? I understand you're part of that process because you do interviews for participants. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So to conduct the interviews, we ask 2 documents. The first one is a resume in French and also a cover letter in French. And they just need to contact us with some information about when they are planning to come to France, and maybe if they already have more information, the duration, the visa they would like to apply to that. And then we schedule the interview and talk all about that to create the program.
Right. Okay. So it sounds very personal. I know Go International works a lot with our participants to help them select the right program, the right destination, and then we submit the application for them to your office and help coordinate all of that. So they really get support both here in Canada and in France. And how much time in advance of traveling do you recommend people apply for the program?
So for internships, quite at least 2 months in advance.
Okay.
Because the internship research will be done before their arrival. Because once they are in France, they already know where they're going to do the internship. So our team needs a little bit of time to schedule all that.
Right.
But for the job one, it could be pretty close to the beginning of the program. It will of course depend if they already have a visa or not. But we can accept students just 2 weeks before the beginning of the program.
Oh, great. Okay. And what about expenses, and what do you recommend people have in terms of savings if they're coming on, for example, the paid job program? They're obviously going to make some money, but people shouldn't come expecting to, live off that money right away. So what do you typically tell people in terms of cost of living in France and how much money they would need?
Yeah, that of course depends on the way of life of the students.
Yeah.
But we always recommend them to have at least 1,000 or 1,500 euros of a budget per month.
Right.
Especially for the beginning, as you said, because when they would be at school, they will not earn money. They will start earning money when they're going to work. So It's always better and either for to be more relaxed, to have a little budget before coming. Yeah. And for internships, we recommend to have the same amount, but to be aware that they will not earn money with the internship, or just a little bit just for not the pocket money, because it's quite high pocket money, but to have enjoy a little bit more friends.
Yeah, well, that's great. Have you seen any trends or any changes in what people want to do over the 5 years that you've been working there? Any differences?
I would say that there's some more fields of internship that are asked. Mostly, I've seen during the year that we do have more and more demand from in communications or international relation fields. Yeah, which is very interesting. So yeah, I really like to do looking internship for this type of fields. But it's also mostly with visa, because now more and more the working holiday visa is known and used by students, and it's also available for Canadians. Right. So we do have more and more students with this visa, which is great. It's like 1 year when you can do whatever you want in France. So it's actually perfect to do the job or internship program.
Right. And your staff must help them in terms of setting up their tax number in France and getting the bank account. What else, what sort of services do you give them to support them when they first arrive so that they're, legal to get paid? And
Yeah. So as you said, we are here to help them to open a bank account. We schedule an appointment with our bank partners. We can also help them to get a phone number, accommodation, and also social security.
Right.
So, and there are also helps from the companies because our partners know that our students come from abroad, and they are also here to help them if they have specific question regarding contract or
Curious, did the Netflix series Emily in Paris increase demand for your programs? Have you seen anybody saying, I want to come, I want to be Emily?
Not for the job program, but for the French courses, yes.
That must have raised a lot of interest in going to Paris, I would think.
You have like nice experiences in Emily's in Paris, like nice stories. So if students want to experience that, they should try it.
Yeah. I think that's all my questions for today. Is there anything else you want to share with the listeners?
Yeah. So just if they have question either for a program in 2 months or in 1 year, and they are just wondering how it could work for them, just need to contact Go International and we will see what is possible for them because we will find a program for them.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. Well, we really enjoy the partnership we have with you, and we're so happy to be representing you in Canada and helping Canadians to travel to France and have these fantastic international experiences. So thank you for joining me today, and I hope to see you again. Have a good day.
Thank you very much, Tamsin, for having me here.
Okay. Well, that's all for this episode of Canadians Work and Travel Abroad. I'm Tamsin Plaxton, and thanks for joining us. We would love to hear from you. So if you have feedback or ideas of other topics you would like us to cover in new episodes, please contact us. Our email address is programs, programs, programs @gointernational.ca. And if you want to learn more about the programs we currently offer, please visit our website, www.gointernational.ca. And in order to help us find more Canadians and share this information, please like and review this podcast. We want to get the word out. Thanks so much.